Never, a little voice had whispered as his lover had sauntered from the bed to the bathroom, making sure all her assets were displayed to best advantage. Alix had been bored, and because women seemed to have a seventh sense designed purely to detect that, his lover had become very uncharacteristically compliant and sweet. So much so that it had set Alix's teeth on edge. And after a day of watching waif-thin models prancing up and down a catwalk, he was even more on edge. But, as his advisor had pointed out when he'd grumbled to him on the phone earlier, "This is good, Alix. It's helping us lull them into a false sense of security. They believe you have nothing on your agenda but the usual round of socializing and modelizing." Alix did not like being considered a modelizer, and he pushed open the door to the shop with more force than was necessary, finally registering the shop assistant, who was looking at him with a mixture of shock and awe on her face. He also registered within the same nanosecond that she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen in his life. The door shut behind him, a small bell tinkling melodically, but he didn't notice. She had pale olive skin, a straight nose and full, soft lips. Sexy. A firm yet delicate jaw. High cheekbones. Her hair was a sleek fall of black satin behind her shoulders, and Alix had the bizarre compulsion to reach out and see if it would slip through his fingers like silk. But it was her eyes that floored him. They were huge light emerald gems with the longest black lashes, framed by gracefully arched black brows. She looked like a Far Eastern princess. "Who are you?" Was that his voice? It sounded like a croak. Stunned. There was an instant fire kindling in his belly and his blood. The fire he'd lamented the lack of last night. It was as if his body was ahead of his brain in terms of absorbing her beauty. She blinked, and those long lashes veiled her stunning eyes for a moment. "I'm the shop owner, Leila Verughese." The name suited her. Exotic. Alix somehow found the necessary motor skills to put out his hand. "Alix Saint Croix." Recognition flashed in her eyes, unmistakable. She flushed, her cheeks going a pretty shade of pink, and Alix surmised cynically that of course she'd heard of him. Who hadn't? Her hand slipped into his then, small and delicate, cool, and the effect was like a rocket launching deep inside Alix. His blood boiled and his hand tightened reflexively around hers. He struggled to make sense of this immediate and extreme physical and mental reaction. He was used to seeing a woman and assessing her from a distance, his desires firmly under control. This woman, Leila, was undeniably beautiful, yes, but she was dressed like a pharmacist, with a white coat over a very plain blue shirt and black trousers. Even in flat shoes, though, she was relatively tall, reaching his shoulder. He found himself imagining her in spindly high heels. How close her mouth would be if he wanted to just bend down slightly. She took her hand back and Alix blinked. "You are looking for a perfume?" Alix's brain felt sluggish. Perfume? Why was he looking for perfume? Carmen, waiting for him in the car. Immediately he scowled again, and the woman in front of him took a step back. He put out a hand. "Sorry, no." He cursed silently. What was wrong with him? "That is, yes. I'm looking for a perfume. For someone." The woman looked at him. "Do you have any particular scent in mind?" Alix dragged his gaze from her with an effort and looked around the small shop for the first time. Each wall was mirrored glass, with glass shelves and counters. Glass and gold perfume bottles covered the surfaces, giving the space a golden hue. The decor was opulent without being stifling, and there wasn't the stench of overpowering perfume that Alix would normally associate with a shop like this. The ambiance was cool, calm, serene. Like her. He realized that she exuded a sense of calm, and that he was reacting to that as well. Almost absently, he said, "I'm looking for a scent for my mistress," when there was no immediate reaction such as Alix was used to. He said what he wanted and people jumped. He looked at the woman. Her mouth was pursed, and an unmistakable air of disapproval was being directed at him. Intriguing. No one ever showed Alix their true reaction.